Evil Dead Rise is out in theaters this weekend, guys, and I gotta tell you, my initial thoughts on it are not gonna be what most people think about this movie. I think most people are gonna like this. I was mixed. It was not what I was expecting. In my initial thoughts that you can see in the video that I'll leave linked in the cards there. It was kind of a letdown for me. Maybe I had my hopes a little too high for Evil Dead Rise. Rated R. It's an hour and 37 minutes. No post-credit scene or anything like that, so you don't have to stick around for the credits. The synopsis reads, a twisted tale of two estranged sisters whose reunion is cut short by the rise of fleshy, possessing demons, thrusting them into a primal battle for survival as they face the most nightmarish version of their family imaginable. Now, if you've seen the trailers for this, the cheese grater scene, you were expecting a lot of blood and gore, and it sort of gets there, but there's a lot of setup. It starts off really awesome. Like when the opening credits come up, I'm like, I'm in. Give it to me. Give it to me, Lee Cronin. He did Hole in the Ground, like a psychological thriller before this that I really enjoyed. So I was like, yeah, I want to see what he could do with the Evil Dead movie. And it was just, for me, it was kind of like, if you don't like movies where it's like a real person wouldn't act like that, they'd be getting the heck out of there. They would be screaming. They wouldn't turn around. And if you're one of those people, and those things get under your skin, then this movie will definitely get under your skin. It'll be like, no, don't do that. You'd be like, and it happened a little too much for me, and that's what I mean. It was kind of like, it didn't resonate. Because I'm an Evil Dead fan. I know the lore. I know what the deadites come from, like the Book of the Dead and stuff like that. And the Necronomicon, which I don't even think they ever call it the Necronomicon in this. It's just there. They don't really explain too much, which kind of sucks. If you are new to this, I don't know how you are expect to follow up with the lore. Not once do they mention deadites. It's just somebody gets possessed and... Okay, now let's talk about the cast. Is the cast doing, or did the cast do a good job? Anne-Marie Thomas is the one that is the mother, and she's the one that gets possessed that you see in all the trailers. She did okay, I suppose. But like the children in this, it's not because they're child actors. It's because it's just, again, with those tired tropes that we all know, that it's kind of like, you wouldn't behave like that. Why are you doing that? You just saw something really awful happen. Really? You're going to go back into the next? It's just like, that happened too much for me. And I think most people are being forgiving on this, on the Rotten Tomatoes, that we'll just see in a few minutes. But I'm curious to see what they're going to say about that. But the cast, it was serviceable. There was nothing that knocked me out of the park that made me say, you got to check this out. The kills in this, it's not like the 2013 one where you're like, that's really creepy, man. The cutting of the tongue too. It's not like that in this. I never felt threatened by these deadites. I was kind of like, and it didn't have that cheekiness to it, kind of like what Evil Dead or Evil Dead 2 had, or Army of Darkness or anything like that. It didn't have that, which I was kind of like bummed out. I was kind of like, I checked my watch like 45 minutes into it, and I was like, we're just getting to the possession now? Ooh. And it's weird because that opening scene starts us off so well. It was kind of like, yeah. So let's go over to the tomato meter and see what people are saying. 87% by the critics, 86 by the audience, 121 reviews. So the critics really like it. 86 by the audience. I'm in the minority on this. I recognize that. So if you're looking for someone to say, guys, and I'm fair. Trust me, I'm fair when it comes to reviews. If there was anything in here that would give me hope to say that, yeah, I want to see more of this from this universe, like from this installment, there was like a small little inkling of it. I would latch onto it and try to amplify it, but it's not there for me. And I'm sorry to say that, yeah, Evil Dead Rise is not one I'm going to be revisiting. They try to do little nods and stuff like that. They do nods with like to the other installments, but not directly. They're not saying that Ash exists in this universe, kind of thing. It just or the 2013 version. It's not tied to any of them, right? But familiar things will happen if you've seen them. The makeup effects are good, I suppose. That's what I could say. But you just don't get to know the Deadites and what is their agenda really. So anyway, they just kind of expect you to know. I gotta fault the story structure for that, and which kind of falls on the director. So let's take a look at what the New York Times said. Cronin is a meticulous creator of stunning shots. His camera doesn't move; it dances, shifting, spinning, occasionally knocked on its side like a running back in a collision. What? So he's talking about cinematography. In the opening scene, it did have some good cinematography. But yeah. Donald Clark from the Irish Times. Is that what it says there? Irish Times? Yes. Says, rip-roaring entertainment that captures the tone of the first two classics while finding new veins to messily drain. Evil Dead Rises is not quite so ambiguously comic as the earlier work, but Cronin never forgets we are here to have a bloody good time. Really? Yeah, and as I said, they tried... Yeah, you set up the scenario that they're estranged sisters, and but they spent too much time setting that up. Like, it's supposed to have some big emotional payoff, but you never feel it. Like, oh my God, I got to kill my sister here. You know, she's possessed. I don't want to do this. But you don't get anything like that. You don't get any acknowledgement like that. But James, it's a horror movie. It's supposed to be casual. And it's supposed to be like not taken seriously. But guys, it doesn't take that much to add in that extra like oomph. Seriously, it doesn't. Let's take a look at what the New York or the Daily Beast says. A lack of wit turns out to be the least of the problems plaguing this sequel, which proves to rigorer debacle only capable of clunky playing the hits. I don't know what the heck that means, man. Featuring big old buckets of human goo over Freudian grotesqueries, Evil Dead Rise is presumably someone's cup of blood-steeped tea. I don't get it, like, at all. What? Okay, so some people are complaining about the violence in this. It does get bloody, but if you've seen other Evil Dead installments, it's kind of like that's par for the course. And actually, I would say it's pretty tame compared to the 2013 version, and it's definitely tamer than Evil Dead 2. It's not. It's yeah. It doesn't take the comedic route like Army of Darkness. It doesn't do that. I'll acknowledge that. But they've got a great scenario in there with the Necronomicon. They do. The Book of the Dead resurrects demonic forces for a rotten reboot that'll swallow your soul, but it's far from groovy. Yeah. Yeah, and you don't end up rooting for the main character like you would in Ash or the character from the 2013 version. You just... How are you still alive? That's what you'll be coming out of like this movie. You'll be like, how are you still alive? After all the decisions that you made, it was like... Mommy loves you to death. Evil Dead Rise. So, where do I land on this, guys? Obviously, I'm going to hit the refresh button because it's 4 o'clock and I set this up earlier in the day. So maybe the ratings changed. Maybe 87%, 86% by the audience. So, you know, I would love to tell you this is a movie where you just go in, you have popcorn, and you just kind of turn off your brain, which most people do. But it's still kind of thing. It's still got to pass some structure, story structure, plot details that I have to call it out for, man. I have to call it out. And it sucks because I love Evil Dead and it. I want to see more in the future. Okay, so we just did a movie news live show where I talked about this as well. I want to hint on this. Bruce Campbell teases the future of the Evil Dead franchise. New project every 2 or 3 years. So we'll have to see how it fares at the box office. But this one's like, it doesn't pertain to, like, Ash maybe doesn't exist in this universe that the Evil Dead rises in. The 2013 version, maybe, that doesn't exist in this universe. I don't know. They don't really even hint about it too much. But Bruce Campbell and Sam Raimi are now working on an Evil Dead Bible containing plans for the future of the horror franchise, and that's what I want to hear. That's good thinking, man. Because, as I said, the Necronomicon leaves the door open for having scenarios where it takes place like in a condominium, but it doesn't have to be like in just a city or a forest setting. You can change the time period, take a page out of Predator Prey and have it like a period piece, like they sort of already did with Army of Darkness, but change it up a little bit, have it appear in different places. Once the Deadites get power, what happens then? Right? What would happen then? There's so many scenarios you can play with it. So a new one every 1 or 2 years, I don't know. We'll have to see if this one resonates. It seems to be resonating with the fans by the Rotten Tomatoes score. So where do I ultimately land on this, guys, for Evil Dead Rise? I think I would probably have to land with a 5.5. And that's being generous for me, man. 5.5 for Evil Dead Rise. I just hate to do it, man. I hate to do it, but it's kind of like, I'm a horror fan. I'm a horror buff. Maybe it's just, I don't know. I want to hear other horror fans talk about it because it's just boring. Sorry. All right, guys. I know that's not what you want to hear, but at least I got to tell you as I feel that it is. All right. If you liked what you've seen, hit that thumbs up button. I have a feeling that you probably didn't like what you heard. So subscribe. Hey, we're on. People are growing. People like this channel, man. So come in and join us here. We have a good community. I'll see you next time on Mirror Domains. Yeah, I'm going to do a spoiler discussion for this tomorrow on our Horror Weekly Roundup show. And we'll see if the Rotten Tomatoes score has changed by tomorrow, or not. Bifer in the live chat says, hey, how's it going, Bifer? Yeah, we just did our Evil Dead Rise review, which I know I'm probably going to get panned for. A lot of people will be just like, meh. They're like, why are you saying that? I had the highest hopes. Well, so did I. I had the highest hopes for it. I had